Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya if you're new, and today I'm going to show you a little bit how I'm breaking in this sketchbook. And I got this at an art store right near me. I've never been there before. It was my first time since I moved to this area. And there aren't that many art stores in general, you know, like other than like Michael's. And by the way, Joann's is closing their stores. I don't know if you guys heard. It's really sad. But artist supply stores, it's hard to find like private small ones. And so there is one in my new area, and I went the other day and I wanted to get this one. This was on sale. Fabriano Mixed Media Sketchbook. So this is better for water, but the owner was so kind. I was talking to him and he showed me sketchbooks that are made there. It's their line like this. So the owner showed me their sketchbooks. It's like a line that they carry of the store. So it's their line of sketchbooks, and you open it up. It lays flat. The paper is not it's not really mixed media paper. It's more drawing paper, but it does have some tooth. It's thin, but it's not horrible, you know. And it was on sale, so to support them, I got it. And I also love that it lays flat, and the shape and size of it. I don't have anything like this. And I want to decorate the cover. That's going to be fun to paint. So I'm going to show you how I break it in and kind of make it more user-friendly for me personally. Everything is like my opinion. So let's get into it. So I lost a little bit of the footage. I thought I was filming and I wasn't. You see on the other page where I started testing mediums. But the first thing I like to do to break it in that I've noticed, I mean, I'm still kind of new to sketchbooks, but is testing mediums, and that kind of breaks it in. That's like the easiest thing to do, and it's also necessary because you want to see what mediums you could use. If you just like to draw, you know, with a pencil or pen, then you don't really need to do this, but I like color, you know, I like to use a lot of different art supplies, so it's good to test, you know, your materials, and that also breaks in the sketchbook. You have it started, it's a good warm-up. And I noticed a lot of people, the kind of sketchbook people that I follow, that I like their work, they test mediums too in their sketchbook right away. So that's what I'm doing here, and using some acrylic markers on top of things. And here I'm basing an entire page with one of those tempera paint sticks for kids. Also the other side, and I'm going to do something on top. I put a little paper in between so while it's drying, I could continue. And I'm swatching these tempera paint sticks by Kiwi. It says Kiwi paint stick, I think. I've had these for a long time. I bought them originally for my kids, but I decided to take them and use them for myself. They're not really into them, so I'm like, it's a shame. I'll use them. So, and then I have also the King Art. The King Art, all of these I got very discounted price at like TJ Maxx or something like that. So I'm just swatching them all out and writing down what they are, so that I really like the Kiwi sticks. Those are very, very opaque. I noticed that some of the King Art are not as opaque, by the way. Now I'm testing the gelatos. I'm rubbing them out a little bit. Now gelatos are water soluble. But what I noticed about these is that later on, after I let them dry, they dried very, very quickly. And once they're dry, you can't really move them with your finger. So that's cool. Here I opened to the page, and unfortunately the page ripped a little bit. But that's okay. I mean, like I said, the paper is a little bit thin. What I'm doing now is I am sketching some pomegranates. And I saw a video by Helen Wells. She has a YouTube channel, and she also has a book. She's like a mixed media kind of artist, and she really likes to work in sketchbooks a lot. She works in these huge sketchbooks, and it's really, really cool. And so she offers like a free class, so I decided to get it. And what I took away from her class, which I think is super awesome, is that she said, take one element and just draw it over and over and over again. Because that takes away, you know, the thing about what should I draw? You know, what should I draw? That's always kind of like what stops us. So she said a very useful exercise would be to take one element. In her case, she used like a cup. She likes to sketch and paint still life objects. But she said you could use whatever you like. So I really like pomegranates. I don't know why. So I decided to take the element of a pomegranate. By the way, I'm using Neocolor 1 over there. Those are the artist crayons that are not water soluble, and they work wonderfully on top of acrylic, on top of watercolor. They work on top of a lot of stuff. Anyway, so she said to draw it over and over again. And that is a very good exercise. So I decided to take her advice. And I used pomegranate instead of like a cup or a vase. She likes to do a lot of vases with flowers, but I like pomegranates, mushrooms, snails. There's certain things that I really like to draw. I don't know why. I like to color them as well. So I just took one of those elements and started to break in my sketchbook. And I am using mixed media here. You guys know I love mixed media. So the King Art gel stick is on the bottom. It's not a gel stick, it's a tempera paint stick. And then I went on top with the Artex acrylic markers and the Neocolor 1. And you can see I'm adding Neocolor 1 on top of the Artex acrylic marker. You can add them on top of almost anything, I feel. I just wish there was more colors. It's kind of a limited set. The Neocolor 2 has a much bigger set. I could have used my Neocolor 2 as well, but I wanted to use the ones here. And so, yeah, I'm just doing her exercise. I think it's a really valuable thing. And I just decided, I went on Pinterest, and to get inspiration, I just typed in pomegranate. And I just did a bunch of pomegranate, like, pages, you know. Here I am going on top of the background with, I'm using a blue. And I really like that the pink background is peeking through. I love that kind of like loose, messy, sketchy style. And so an underpainting is actually a great thing to do if you like mixed media. It takes away the whole white page thing, you know. So I like to add like paint on random pages, or these paint sticks are great because they dry much faster than paint. And then you can have an underpainting, and that, you know, for mixed media is very helpful. I feel like even if you're using one type of media, it might be helpful. I really like the idea of underpainting. My dad does it as well. And I would say my favorite color for underpainting would be pink, or like a corally pinky red. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be other colors. Just depends what you like. And I'm using another neon paint stick on top. I noticed that it's kind of not opaque. Here I was just trying to smudge in that previous frame, I was trying to smudge the gelatos, the Faber-Castell gelatos, and they did not move. Like once they're dry, they don't move. So I'm very excited about that. I'm going to use them in the future, hopefully, in my sketchbooks. And what I like about the sketchbook thing is that I could use a lot of mediums that I don't use in my coloring books. And it's just more free. You can create an artwork really, really quickly. It's much more quick than a coloring page. Coloring page is more precise, more detailed. It takes much longer. It requires a lot more patience. And sketchbook, you can create like a piece in a much quicker time. What I'm doing here is I don't really know what I'm doing. I use pan pastel. I use chalk pastel pencils. I used one of my Caran d'Ache Supercolor watercolor pencils on the pomegranate. And I'm just looking at a reference photo from Pinterest. And I'm just using a bunch of different mediums, just playing and having fun, experimenting, basically. And that's what like a sketchbook is all about. It's about experimenting, trying different things, and not being too precious about it. So here I'm continuing with the background. The background leaves are less in focus, so that's what I'm trying to create there. And yeah, just playing around basically. And I'm loving using my pan pastels. Now I am letting the watercolor dry. The page is a little bit wet because I activated my watercolor pencil on the pomegranate in the previous page. So I'm letting that dry and I'm flipping to the next page. I looked at a different reference photo. It was a drawing, like a sketch of pomegranates. So I'm just copying that, basically. Copying what I see. And this is just a water-based marker. I will show it in a future haul. So if you're wondering exactly what that is, it is from Japan. So I will show it in the future. But basically, I'm just copying the sketch and very, very loosely. It's not perfect, right? I'm still learning. You know, I'm not used to drawing. You know, haven't really drawn in years, and even when I did draw, I never made it a practice. And drawing, to become good at drawing, as with anything else, same with coloring, you need to practice. You need to do it a lot. And so I'm just learning and practicing. That's what I need to do. And so these sketchbooks are great because, especially this one, I feel like it's not too expensive. I'm not precious about it. And I can just, you know, have fun and basically practice. So now I'm using the other side. There's a fine tip side and like a more chunkier side of this marker. So I'm using both sides and having fun with this. This is a little bit more of a realistic sketch rather than the other ones are more of like stylized. The other pomegranates that I did with the mixed media were more stylized. So I'm just trying different things, you know, realistic, more mixed media, abstract type stuff. And so I'm also trying to find my style, you know, what do I like to do? And I mean, I already know that I like a little bit of everything, but it'll be interesting to continue to draw and work and stuff and figure out what my style is with drawing and sketching. So right now I'm adding chalk pastels on top and smudging it with my finger just to add the shading a little bit and make it more dimensional. And I'll show it again at the end of the video because I know this is kind of sped up. Here I flipped in the middle of the sketchbook. I flipped to the middle of the book and I am testing out my King Art water-based markers. They're kind of like Tombos. And also my polychromos pencils. I'm testing them out. And I really wanted to add some color and sketches and break it in the middle of the sketchbook, not all of the pages in the front. I noticed that. For me, it helps me to work in my sketchbook if there's more pages like random, you know, all around that are worked in. So I'm trying to break in other pages. And I am noticing that it's difficult to add pencil on top of when the water-based marker is still wet, as you can see there. So you need to wait for the water-based marker to dry and then add pencil on top. So that was what I showed in the other page. But here I am just swatching out in Art Supply. Again, these are the Conte a Paris, Conte a Paris chalk pastel pencils. I have a couple that I purchased a long time ago at an art store in Las Vegas, and I never showed them to you. I'm going to show them to you. But here I'm swatching out the Neoni chalk pastels. And so, and I flipped to like a completely different page. So swatching art supplies is a great way to break in the sketchbook and add color to random pages in the sketchbook. And also to see how they work. These smudge less. I wrote what they were. Yeah, I noticed that they smudge less than the Conte Paris chalk pastel pencils. And it's nice because they work very nicely. Chalk pastel works really nicely on this paper. So, and always remember to write down what the swatches are so you know what they are. Like what the swatches are so you have that for future reference and how they work on that paper. I'm back and I opened the sketchbook kind of like in the middle because I wanted to do pages not just in the front and just in the middle to add color and make it more used. So I just took this book that I read to my kids. I got it from the library. And I did the cat here, and I'm using this page where there's multiple poses of the cat. It's a good way to practice. So I'm doing that there. So, and I think I'm going to do some more swatches on another page with like watercolor or something like that, just to add more in the middle of the book to make it like more used. So that is what I've done so far to break it in. I really like how the gelatos work and these kiwi tempera sticks. That's going to be useful. Because I can layer that. I can use acrylic with it. I can use gouache. I can use the Neocolor too. Here is the chalk pastel one and the little sketchy one. So, yeah, so I like to break it in like that by adding pages in the middle too. I don't know why I'm weird like that, but it kind of helps me like make it used, you know. And that way I'm more free to make bad illustrations and practice. It's okay to make quote unquote bad pages because that's how you're learning, you know. Like I think I have, let me show you here, this one turned out kind of not so good, but that's how you learn, you know. This one also didn't turn out good. It's too long here, but that's how you learn, you know. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have a sketchbook, maybe you do some swatching, pick something easy and draw it over and over again. That's a great lesson that I learned from Helen Wells. She's a wonderful artist. And there's so many wonderful like sketchbook artists on YouTube, and they're very, very inspiring. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it inspiring. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone who commented on my whips video. It was very interesting to read your comments and what your views are. And I read everyone's comments. I just want you to know I read everybody, even if I didn't respond to everybody. I will try to respond to everybody. Even if I didn't, I want you to know that I read them and I loved it. It was very interesting and fun. So have a wonderful week and month of coloring, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.